This tutorial assumes that I have already set up the code in my MCU to send and receive my custom command and telemetry. And now I am at the step where I need to configure the Arxrobot app to handle these messages appropriately. The first thing we need is to be in developer mode because most of the configuration views are only accessible from developer mode so as to keep new users from getting hopelessly confused. So we'll go back to turn on developer mode, and then we will see our button active for custom command and telemetry configuration. And here we see the configuration that I have already created, and we'll go through each of these and explain what was done here. The first two items are to test the telemetry where all configuration where all we need is a display of the telemetry's current value as it changes over time. We don't need to show a stream of data that includes historical points, but only the current value. And so the first one is just where it says run state test. That's just a simple toggle switch command to turn on and off my code that generates new values programmatically for testing purposes. And then those values will be in the telemetry only entity, which is the next entity in the list, 0x41, called state test. Similarly, the next two, the first one is just to turn the test on and off, and the second is the test itself. And then finally, if I scroll up a little bit, the last two are demonstrating a test where we have a select list or a series of radio buttons where we pick a certain value, and then that affects the next test, which is the category of the value we chose. And this just is meant to accentuate the fact that for a command entity, we need to also echo back its current state after it has its action, so that if one of the participants is logged out or disconnected and then reconnected, that the value, the correct state value, will be imported when the new session starts. So we'll go back to the top of the list here and take a look at how these are configured. Look at our first one, hit the little pencil icon to edit, and you can see I've given it the label run state test, put a tooltip on it that'll appear in the case of the control panel, the community mode control panel, that'll appear upon hovering over the control. We've set its default value to off so that the test is not normally running until we tell it to run. And its flow protocol is command and telemetry state, which simply means that it is a command and then it echoes back its current state. And you can see that for this type of data type, which is a Boolean entity, we have two modes available, the command and telemetry state, or telemetry state only. The compatible control modes, in this case I've selected only client server because that's the only place I intend to have this usable and visible. And I might note here that a few of the combinations are not implemented yet in the RC mode, the remote control mode, just simply because I haven't created all of the widgets and various underpinnings to drive those. But those will be implemented as time goes on. So for a simple toggle switch, on-off command, there aren't a lot of choices to make. You basically pick your default value and pick where you want it to show up and any labels and tooltips, and that's all there is to it. When we look at the test I created that this is supposed to start running, we'll go to the second one here and go into edit mode. And this one I chose to have a simple byte value, which is a signed byte, so it can be its possible range of values can be anything from positive 127 to negative 127. I have, in this case, I am configuring it to show that in my Arduino code, my MCU firmware, I have set it so that its maximum value it should ever reach is 100, positive 100, and its minimum value is negative 100. And then I've imagined that this is some sort of value that could be reach unsafe levels at either in a positive or negative direction. And so I've included a safe maximum and a safe minimum that differ from the respective maximum and minimum. If the maximum and minimum or the safe maximum is equal to or greater than the maximum in this configuration, then it is ignored. If it's less, then it is interpreted as a threshold at which an alarm should be, alarm state should be, or an alert state should be created on the client. And as you can see, we have a step value also, and then of course the control modes. So in this case, my MCU code should be sending a value that is between those in that value range and is only 1 byte in size. Whenever you see one of these yellow balls with a question mark in it, that's a tooltip. Just hold on that and you can see some more information about what that setting does. So we'll go back now to our list of entities. Notice there's a tooltip there too, which is available to show what the icons are for there for adding, deleting, etc. For our run stream test, it's similar to the run state test. It's just a toggle switch that turns on and off that particular test. The stream test, oops, hit the wrong button. Hate when that happens. I'm not done, so we'll go back. Go to our stream test, hit the edit button. In this case, the data type I chose is an unsigned short, otherwise known as a word? It's two bytes anyway, and with no sign. So that means that our total possible value range, should we decide to take advantage of the entire range, would be from 0 to 65535. Obviously there are no negatives here because it is an unsigned data type. So I've picked a default value that's in the middle there somewhere, and a safe maximum, and which differs from the maximum, and I have no difference between the safe minimum and the minimum, so that will be ignored by our display client. This, you notice the flow protocol is telemetry stream rather than telemetry state. That means that we will, our MCU code should not only send the 2 bytes for the value, but it must follow those 2 bytes with an additional 4 byte unsigned integer value that will serve as a timing stamp. And again, the compatible control modes. This enables us to reassemble on the client, such as the control panel, the timing of these data points and show a historical stream of data, including, such as in the form of a graph, oscilloscope tracing, that sort of thing, or a simple list of values as you desire. And that's, I think, all we need to say about this right now. Then for our test item, we describe the kind of widget we want, which is radio buttons. We show that it's a command. We pick a default value, and we'll go back and look at what the available values are that we've set up. We have options for our select command. Our select command is always an unsigned byte value, but these options give the meaning to those individual values. In this case, we have 6 possible values, and when one of those is chosen, that will change the display on the control panel to the currently selected value, and then the code logic on the MCU will also change our next telemetry item, which is test category, to the category that matches the test item that we selected. So if it's animal, vegetable, or mineral. Obviously these examples are trivial, but they hopefully exemplify how to set this stuff up. So in this case, this test category is again has a default value It's a telemetry state. There is no stream version for this data type. And when we go back and we see that we have our 3 values, to edit those, they're in their own little list, and so you just hit the edit button over there. And those are my test control panel entities, or test custom entities. We will follow this video with another video showing the results of all this running on the control panel to show what this looks like at the other end. So that's it for now.